And let me just introduce everybody as they appear on my screen now. In the picture on the left of my screen, well, it's on the right of the screen, but to my left, is K-Dog, who runs
Hello, everybody.
the blog Chasing the Squirrel, and has I think he's written something recently. He'll tell us about it later. And he's a software engineer, or actually, he's just an engineer, IT engineer, hardware, software, whatever, and has worked in the Computer Museum in Seattle for the last few years, and now is between jobs, and so he does not have to leave the house, okay, right now, which is good timing, okay. And then moving on the top of the screen to my right is George Mobus, and George is Professor Emeritus at the University of Washington in Seattle. And what?
Tacoma.
Oh, I'm sorry, Tacoma. And he has written many books on system science, and a major textbook on that subject. When I first met him, he was busy writing it. And he's always busy writing something. And he also is in Seattle. So Seattle is, here in the United States, probably the most affected by coronavirus, although New York City is catching up, and New York State in general is catching up to Seattle in terms of numbers and the effects that have been ongoing. And then moving down from there is another old friend, another professor of physical science at the University of Florence in Italy, and his name is Bardi, and he also has fame in the collapse field, having been part of the Club of Rome, which produced the 1972 Limits to Growth. 72, correct?
Yeah, correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
See, I got a decent memory stuff. And he's living in where's the hotbed of coronavirus in Europe, which is Italy, right now. And they have the most stringent controls being placed on them, and so forth. So we're going to hear about that. All right, so let's go and start with Keith, or K-Dong. Keith, you want to tell us what's going on there, how you're handling it, and what you've seen so far?